Hi there, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This will be the fourth video that I have done. I don't know where this video is going to go. It's going to go somewhere, but that's just because I've had a bit of a not a crazy day, just a very thoughtful day, and there was a lot of thoughts that went through my head, and I'll try to be able to bring them back and express them here, but I can't guarantee anything. I'm one of the kind of people that kind of need to write down their thoughts as soon as they have them, or else they're sometimes lost forever, sometimes not. Sometimes I'm actually able to bring them back, but well, that brings me to a point about the people in the world that, well, the real people, those, the ones that I'm very jealous of, that somehow seem to know every second of the day which way is up and how to be, I mean it's good because it's something to aspire to, I guess, just to be that way all the time, always working and being as connected as you possibly can be. That brings me to another point. If I used to be of the mind that I always had to be super focused, and everything had to be a certain way, or else, I wouldn't be able to be good, if that makes any sense. But I've learned that that it's okay to think. It's okay just to be lost in your own thought, and but what's really important about that is the ability to be able to, at the end of your thought, recognize it as a thought and be like, okay, well, I did think that. That's great. I mean, it doesn't necessarily help other people out, but being able to recognize your thoughts is actually a very crucial part of recovery from a mental illness, because when you're so lost in psychosis and so completely consumed by your own mind and everything that's going on in it, and you're completely out of control. You're just completely psychotic, and you're like I said, consumed by whatever the negative force is that is controlling you at the time. So it was kind of nice to take transit down to the convention center today to see the Dalai Lama speak. I enjoyed the ride. I did. I listened to music on the way down and on the way back, and it was quite. It was much more relaxing than driving. I'll tell you that much, because I usually drive everywhere I go, and transit's pretty good. I'm sure TransLink will like me saying that, but it's true. It's a much more relaxing way to get around, if you're comfortable around people, because close quarters and all that, and sometimes that's not great for some people, and I understand that. But anyways, getting to what it was like to see the Dalai Lama speak. I might post a video of what was happening outside the convention center before I went in to see the conference, and there's basically two opposing sides. One that was pro-Dalai Lama, one was anti-Dalai Lama, and I really wanted to know what the anti-Dalai Lama protest was about. So I approached one of the guys that had a sign that I believe said religious freedom, and I was like, well, okay, so what's that about? So I talked to him, and he seemed like a very articulate guy, and he informed me that the Dalai Lama apparently worships a certain deity that is not the same as the people that were opposed to the Dalai Lama. Apparently he used to worship it, but then for some reason, I don't know why, he didn't anymore, and it's they were, both sides were Buddhist, but they just worship a different deity. And I was thinking to myself, you don't need anybody's permission to be uh, like you really don't need anybody's permission, like anyone's, to be faithful to a certain deity over another. I mean, I just didn't quite understand why there was such an argument. I mean, it was like we own Dalai Lama, so we're better kind of thing. And I was like, it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, I don't. I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe I don't know what goes on in the rest of the world. Um, if you support a certain side over another side, and maybe it just is that way. But it seemed to me like, like in your own mind, you can just go around in this world. I mean, and they clearly all, well, maybe they don't all live in Vancouver, I don't know, but you can go around in this world and believe whatever you want to believe. I mean, and that's the great thing about, and maybe that's just the advantage of living in Canada, or any place that you can be, can, have your own religious freedom. And he had the sign that said, um, false Dalai Lama, we want religious freedom. And like I just said, I mean, it's like there's nobody stopping you, and the Dalai Lama is not going to come up to you and say, listen, you can't do this because it's the wrong deity to believe in. And so I was like, well, I didn't quite understand that. So anyways, that was outside of the convention center, and then I went inside, and it was packed. Like, there was so many people there, and I was in the cheap seats, all the way almost at the very back, but was fortunate enough to find a seat that was almost right in the middle of the back, and I could see most of the stage. I mean, there was monitors up on the side, so you could easily see what was going on, and it was kind of choreographed live, which was kind of neat, because you get to see what it's like to produce a live presentation like that, and they did a fantastic job. They really did. Getting to what the Dalai Lama was talking about, it was pretty interesting. It's here. I have the official program right there. You can say it says "Be the Village, Dalai Lama, Vancouver 2014, Heart Mind Summit." And it says on the front here, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive." And that's definitely true. I mean, I mean, he's the 14th Dalai Lama, apparently. But he does have some fantastic quotes, and it's I found myself, like, trying to believe in what he was saying. He's definitely a very, very smart man, and he quite frequently referenced some Indian doctrines that were centuries old, that are still applied today, and that was kind of neat. But it was very hard to hear him. Like, I was trying as hard as I could to listen to what he said, and literally half of it I missed, which is too bad, because it was probably pretty good stuff. So I might go back and watch it. I believe it was streamed online on their website, and I might go back and watch it and try to get a little more out of it. But I do want to mention this guy, Shane Koykzan, Koyczan. He was absolutely he just blew my mind, and like, that doesn't happen that often. He's a spoken word poet, and it says here in this little write up in his profile that he did a TED Talks in 2013 in Long Beach, California, and I'm going to look up that, and I hope to post that video on my channel because it was just absolutely amazing. I was just like, it was easily the best part of the whole presentation was his spoken word poetry, and he was asked specifically to write something for the Dalai Lama and his presentation there, and he did not disappoint by any stretch of the imagination. I was just like, I want to meet this guy, or at least I want to see what else he has to say, because it was so good on so many levels too. So, anyways, that was the highlight for me. There was a bunch of other people interviewed or who were in conversation with the Dalai Lama at the time, and they were quite good too. They chose a section of the population. Like there was a business lady, there was a lady from the YWCA, the women's YMCA, which I'm a big advocate for because I go to the Y 5 times a week. I just got back from it, and it was what I needed. It really was what I needed, was to go for a swim, because I hadn't been in a couple of days, and I really felt it. And I was so glad that I was able to go, and I'm so glad that the Y was there for me to go to. So she was quite good. She considered herself, even though she was the head of the YWCA, she introduced herself as just another volunteer, which is quite humbling. Which actually, I should mention her name here. There was Tamara Vrooman. She was the CEO of Van City, so that was the business side. There's Peter Senge. He's a world famous systems strategist and author. He spoke very, very well. He was the last one to talk to the Dalai Lama. And Kimberly Schonert Ryle. I'm really trying to find the lady that was from the YWCA, and I can't seem to find that right now. Oh yes, Janet Austin is her name, and she was everything that I hoped she would be, and like I said, extremely humble by just considering herself another volunteer and not even somebody that was in charge of an organization that's as good as the YMCA or the YWCA. So, anyways, I had a thought there. I was when I was thinking about that, but now it's gone. So that's all right. I thought this video would be a bit scrambly, and it is, but that's fine. I sat next to a couple that had just flown in from England, and it was they were great to talk to because they were very down to earth, and they expressed how amazed they were to be in front of the Dalai Lama. Apparently, they found out about the show about 2 hours before and bought tickets, and next thing you know, they were in front of the Dalai Lama. So I do believe in being at the right place at the right time, and they clearly were at that time too, which is good for them. And I was very fortunate. Actually, this is another thing that I've been thinking about, is just exactly how lucky I am. I live in a country that's accepting of so many things, whether it be race, sexual orientation, disability, cognitive impairment, and the fact that there's support systems for all those things and more. It's just, I don't know why I was so lucky as to have lived in a country like I do. And another thing that comes to mind is how I ended up in this country. Both my parents are British, and Dad was a chemical engineer, and he got a job up in Scotland a few years after my parents got married, and that's where my brother and I were born, in a little town called Ayr, which is just right on the west coast of Scotland, pretty close to Glasgow. And I guess one day my dad found out that the plant was shutting down in Scotland, and he had a choice of whether to go to, I believe it was Holland, where he was going to work for Shell Oil, or a job in Kitsilano, actually, in Vancouver. And it turns out that my brother and I would have had to have gone away to boarding school if we had gone to Holland. It would have been a lot different. And the point of my story is the culture that must have been a bit of a shock to my parents, to be able to make that move, because when all their family is back in the UK and coming to a country that I'm pretty sure they knew absolutely no one. And Dad obviously made some connections through work, and we moved into a very, very nice neighborhood, a very good place to grow up. And that's like I'm saying, we're very, very fortunate that I was able to have this life. As much as I've been through tough times, I do want to be thankful, and I am, yeah. So I mean, that was a huge divergence in my destiny, I guess, was to either be Dutch or be Canadian, and I'm nothing against the Dutch, but I'm pretty glad I'm Canadian, and I love hockey just like any other Canadian. Or I mean, I have a really very, very good friend who doesn't even watch sports, so yeah, I mean, but I grew up playing them and I grew up watching them, so that was just the biggest part. Literally, it just kept me out of trouble. I never even thought about doing anything other than sport, literally. Yeah, so I mean, that was kind of. I actually shared that story with the couple that the British couple that I sat beside at the conference there. So yeah, I had a bunch of other thoughts go through my head today that I was hoping to express, that I've completely forgotten now. But yeah, thanks for listening to my rambling, and I hope you took something from it. I'm trying to think about what else I really took from the conference. I mean, it was the biggest message from the conference was that we need to educate our children about their emotions, and get them to be able to identify their emotions, to speak about the emotions. How does it feel to be angry? How does it feel to be sad? How does it feel to be jealous? How does it feel to be I can't think of another one, but what thoughts go through your head? Because I don't know why people don't talk about this as much, but thoughts and emotions are about as interconnected as you can possibly get, because if you're in a certain mood, at least I know when I am, I think a certain way, I think certain thoughts, and it's not necessarily good, but when I'm in a more positive mood, there's more positive thoughts. So one thing kind of breeds the next, at least that from my experience, and I have realized that I'm somewhat. The thought went through my head that I am not very emotionally mature, if that makes any sense. This will be a topic for another day, but let's just leave it at that. I do have to. I think I have to be more mindful about my moods and what I'm thinking during those moods, and how I'm gonna get out of that mood. Because if it's a bad one, I don't want to stay in it. I want to be able to do something about it, and be proactive, and whether it be go for a swim or go for a walk, or eat some food or whatever it is, just literally not necessarily ignore the emotion, but do whatever I can to not just fester in that emotion, and be as positive as I can be. So yeah, that was today, and I hope to see you guys soon. And I'm just gonna settle with P free.